I'm gonna go with green.
You're gonna go with green. What are you gonna say, Rev? Cat?
Green.
That means one of you is right.
Mama's right.
That's correct. Oh, she does look nice. I will say
yes,
that.
she
After
does.
driving this car, I have to say this is my first WLToys car. And again, the fun factor was very high. I drive big, high-end cars. As we all know, looking at my videos, we know that I drive big cars, and I have no problems doing flips and back flips and double flips and all that stuff I make and design. But these are my. I love all RC cars, all differently. So as you can see, the wheelbase is shorter. Here's the remote. I didn't take the remote out for this one because they're all the same. They haven't changed the remote. Let's take a look inside. As you can see, there's the body.
It's smaller than the other.
Yep, we like that because less weight, which means more flipping and stuff like that. Although I don't think you could probably flip with this, unless you somehow threw a thing in there. Geez, I ought to take that ESC out, put it in there.
No,
Make it
that
work.
was too cute.
And it is, and it's got a huge motor for this size. You know what I mean? And another one that had this that could go really, really fast too was the what was it, the A7 something 9, A7 B9. I don't know. It's one of those. I think it's made by WLToys too. That really goes fast. Had this huge motor in it, and it was very small. I think it was like a 1/18 scale, where this is a 1/16. It's got to be right. It's a 1/14, believe it or not. And I guess they're small because they're buggies. Buggies are usually small in real life, so that would make sense that that's a 1/14 scale. And this is actually a 1/12 scale. Now, to put that in perspective, a normal 1/12 scale is probably almost a 1/10 scale. So, probably like, 1/12 scale is usually bigger than this, about twice as big as this at least. This would be a 1/16 scale, but that's a 1/14. This is more of a 1/14. This is more of a 1/16. But again, buggies must be small, or they are small, so obviously the scale is different. I'm going to be changing the shock oil in this too, and that's another thing. They all come fully loaded with shocks. They're semi-pro cars. And again, fun factor, and if this car is any much funner, which it probably is after everything I've heard, if this car is as much fun as that one was, Robbie, you drove it around in the grass. How'd you like this purple one?
Oh, I liked it.
Did you like it?
Yes, it did.
And fun factor scale 1 to 10
8.
gives it an 8. That's what I mean. These cars are just fun. They're toys, but they're fun. And I can see why everybody likes them. Oh, that feels better. That feels better. There we go. It felt good anyways. This one feels, I even tightened it. Still heavy. Told you, longer wheelbase, heavy. Shorter wheelbase. Look at that. This was bottomed out a bunch of times. See? No problem, bottoms out. Change that shock fluid. I know I probably keep it a little looser in the front, only because the weight's not really in the front, and also when you go over bumps and you're steering, you want your tire to just go up and over it versus hitting a rock, and because you got stiff shock oil moving the car. Whereas if you keep it thick in the back, so when it lands, it doesn't bottom out so much. Your back tires always pretty much go where the front tires are, unless it's a big rock. If it goes over a big rock and then it hits that back tire, it makes it go like that. Otherwise than that, it would be just as easy if I kept thin shock oil in there. So this one I'm probably going to thicken up. These ones I'll maybe thicken up a little, but I really think that this one's okay. Seems good. I like the way that these are designed because sometimes, things break or whatever, but they don't really break. You just pop them back into place, pop these things back on, little things like that. Now, one thing about these things is I will agree, and shout out to the RC Kiwis. They are right. They use something on these screws, and they're Phillips screws, but you cannot, barely without stripping them, get them out. I tried applying heat. Everything, I just gave up. This one here, the motor went, so I just bought a new one. They're only $100 or so. So that's the whole point. They're toy cars. They're harder to work on, harder to fix. And, you know, unless I wanted to buy a new ESC, but no, I'm just gonna keep this for parts and do it like that. So there's the inside of that. Same electronics as this right here, but just shorter. This is the car that started it off. This is the car that was upgraded right after. So now that we got those out the way, let's quickly get into this so my daughter can get to work. There's a lot to be said. WLToys, they're doing a good job. I know a lot of semi-pro cars that are really great, like the legendary Sonic. It's a 1/16 scale car. It's actually bigger than this. It's a 1/16 scale car, and that's a brushed version. Can't imagine putting that on 3S, although I'm pretty sure I've tried it. Got a couple of them. Those are pretty decent, but they don't jump like these guys. These guys here are jumpers. These guys here are a level up from my other semi-pro cars, like my Remo 1635 is a brushless, and even that doesn't jump as well as it should. Nah, she's a beautiful car. Again, I'm going to show you. It is the exact replica of this car here, just different tires, different body, and a brushless system.
It's a mini Shogun.
Yeah. Well, I can't believe you'd think I'd go for green when I have so many greens, man.
I know.
Greens and sea blues. I like the color, don't get me wrong, but geez, that's why I started going for purple, for Christ's sakes. Anyways, but yes, it's an exact replica. Let's take a look at the insides, though. See what we got. This came with 2 batteries. This came with 2 batteries, I believe. Yeah, right here, just to show you. It's the same ones that came with them. I don't want to just rip out. And there, those are 2600s. Pretty decent. I took them out. They were pretty decent. You know, I'd like to just grab a 50C, 5200, you know, and put it in there, but it won't fit. So it kind of sucks for that. So I'm going to go online and actually look for some 2S's with some higher discharge, because I'm not sure what these are. They say they just have a bunch of numbers, but they don't check off what it is, which tells you that these are kind of a knockoff, but they do tend to work pretty good. Kin power, so far from what I've seen. So I don't know what this means, but none of them are checked off. So I don't know. It's probably a 25C, my guess. That's what they usually are, 25C. Most you get out of these little type batteries, 25C. So let's take a look at this E-Sheen. I'm really excited about that too. I'm also really excited about the, let's see if we can switch bodies first of all. We can. So it is an exact replica. Look at that. Look at that, huh? I'm liking it. I'm actually very excited about this. They put everything up top here because there wasn't enough room. Got the ESC. They say it can take a 3S. It should be able to. It really shouldn't be that much of a problem. I'm going to get me a little fan and see if I can't screw that in there. If anybody doesn't know how to put fans on a heat sink like this, it's pretty simple. You get a screw, any of the screws, and get the fan that's the size, which obviously is pretty damn small here. And you just screw them in between the metals, and it will hold your fan there just fine. They even have setups like that. I see people online a lot of times not understanding how to get a fan onto a heat sink, or saying, oh, if I could just figure out how to get it on a heat sink. Well, that's how you do it. I would suggest a shroud always, because you're going to break fan blades. But either way, put a screw through, and as long as it's big enough to widen that, it will thread itself into that and create a fan holder. So here's the antenna. It's locked up as usual. And then I just got the 1 battery, and I think that might have been all they had for this. Also, it was these, let's see, this was shipped from the USA. This was not shipped from the USA. So get out here, battery. We're trying to look at you. What is going on? There we go. Let's take a look here. We got a HPV. I don't know what that is, but it sounds like a bad disease. 7.4 volt, 2800. Not bad. A couple extra hundred. Stands for reason for the extra length and battery, but it's still thick. So really, roughly about the same size. So that's great. Got got the place to put in for your fan when I do get my fan. Let's see what else we got here. Obviously, one's brushed and one's brushed.